A bunch of old boats that could have treasure, ghosts, and a mysterious backstory? Count me in. This sounds like the type of trip you go on when you walk through a ship and you find some old coin, and then you have some secret organization that starts hunting you down because you have the key to unlock all the secrets? Or maybe I just watched too many B-list action movies. Hello again, Most Amazing Top 10 family. I'm your host, Jade Arena, and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Today we are going to look at ships that didn't quite make it ashore with our list of top 10 shipwrecks you can actually visit. As always, guys, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell, and stick around for the whole list because I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts that you love so much. Remember, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. Without taking any longer, let's get into this list. Coming in at number 10, we have the MONARCH ship graveyard in Uzbekistan. This ship graveyard showcases the destructive power that man can have on his environment. This area used to be lush with life, and it was home to the Aral Sea. This was a massive salt lake that housed one of the most diverse ecosystems in the world. It was teeming with life not just below the surface but above it as well. There were thousands of people that called the borders of this sea home. It was where people would fish and live. An entire industry was built around this lake. But when the government wanted to use the waters to expand the agriculture influence in the area, they started to funnel water out of the lake through the man-made rivers, and slowly but surely they shrank down the sea and the salt levels skyrocketed. It was eventually too salty for anything to live in the lake. Eventually everything died off, and everyone who used to live around there had to find other means of survival. Now the whole area is a desert that houses the rusted remains of ships that once traveled the Aral Sea. Coming in at number 9, we have Miss World Discoverer Solomon Island. This is the worst nightmare for every single retired person who loves to spend their time going on cruises. In the 70s, the Miss World Discoverer was working as a cruise ship, and while swooping by the Solomon Island, the captain made a huge mistake. He came too close to the island shore and hit a massive rock which pierced through the hull of the ship. So what happened to the 2,000 people that were on board the ship? Well, they were all eaten by sharks, and now the place is called the Shark Graveyard. I'm just kidding, that didn't actually happen at all. Actually, not a single person died. Everyone on board managed to make it to the lifeboats. They made it to the shore of the island, and then the island had an operating ferry for tourists to visit. This was all very convenient. So it took a few trips, but they were all able to make it home safely. Coming in at number 8, we have the Mediterranean Sky in Greece. Let's go over to a massive cruise liner that was built all the way back in the 50s. I'm not sure how long a boat is good for, but it would weird me out knowing that you're setting sail on something that is older than my parents. I think when I'm putting my faith in something that's supposed to take me across the ocean, I want to make sure that the blueprints have the latest updates. But even though this ship had a long career, it never saw any problems. The reason that it became a wreck was actually due to lack of use. It was sitting in a Greek harbor for over 2 years, and then one day the ship started to take on water. I don't know if you guys know this about boats, but that is very bad. Well, the owners of the boat didn't have the means to fix it, but they also didn't want to lose it to the murky depths of Davy Jones' locker. So they managed to get the boat to some shallow waters, and they got it stuck on land. It stayed there for a time until the boat broke open, and then it was laid there as a wreck. It's now a tourist attraction. I'm kind of realizing that going to see a giant shipwreck is like going to check out a big piece of garbage, but I still want to go for some reason. Coming in at number 7, we have the BESSIE White from Fire Island to New York. That sounds like the most brutal place to be shipwrecked. Fire Island? It sounds like there would be an active volcano there and a bunch of locals there that want to tie you up and take you to the mouth of the volcano so they can sacrifice you. But it turns out it's actually a pretty peaceful place. The BESSIE White was an old schooner that was mainly used to haul coal throughout America. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. The ship crashed off the coast of the island in the 20s, and a pretty penny worth of coal was lost to the world, and I bet a bunch of people were fired that day. You don't make a 6-figure mistake and then just walk into work the next day like nothing happened. For a long time, the boat was gone to the world, but the changing shorelines revealed where it was left. You can go visit the boat whenever you want, but you just have to make it to Fire Island, so that might be a pass for me. Next on the list, we have the SS MAHENO on Fraser Island, Australia. This ship was originally a Navy ship, but it came in contact with a very intense intense cyclone, and now it sits on the shore of Fraser Island. The metal skeleton sits on the beach and looks just as dangerous as it is. Some people think that it would be a good idea to climb and enter the wreckage, and many of them learn quickly that there's nothing in there but pain. Many people have hurt themselves in the wreckage of the ship trying to get too close for photo ops or the perfect selfie. And it doesn't help that Fraser Island is already known for being dangerous from the aggressive wildlife that lives on the island. So if you go there for a visit, try not to draw blood while you explore. You don't want a pack of dingoes to be the last thing you see. Next on the list is the USTA Liberty in Bali, Indonesia. Now we're finally getting to a battleship. The USTA was smashed in the hull by a Japanese torpedo in 1942 just off the coast of Bali. It was extremely close to the shore, only 30 meters away, so most of the men on board were able to abandon ship and swim to the shore. And even though the ship has a dark past, it is now a prime time location for snorkeling and freediving. The wreck is only 9 meters underwater, so you can swim right out to it and dive down to find a wide array of sea life living on it. That's not a bad way to spend your afternoon, you just have to forget that it's down there because of World War II. Coming in at number 4, we have the AA Airfield. At first glance, this ship looks like it was set up for an apocalypse movie, but you will quickly learn that it's actually just one of the most beautiful wrecks ever. It's just off the coast of Australia, and even though the ship is a giant hunk of dead metal, life has chosen it as a spot to create. There are trees growing out through the hull of this dead ship. They reach out through the top of the wreckage. Something that used to be a giant hunk of garbage has now become a marine and vegetation sanctuary. Coming in next on the list, we have the SS THISTLEGORM in the Red Sea, Egypt. One of the most famous wrecks in the world. The SS THISTLEGORM was doing its duty in World War II when it was shot down and sunk to the bottom of the ocean. But being a casualty of war was not what makes this ship so interesting. It's everything that was on board. Taking a dive down to this wreck is like stepping into a time machine. Old rifles, motorcycles, and army supplies are all stuffed away inside this wreckage. Some people say that salvaging some of the goods could be worth thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the wreck is now a protected reef, so there's no way you can bring that stuff back to the surface without breaking the law. It's all looking and no touching. We have the MV PANAGIOTIS in ZAKYNTHOS Island, Greece. I can't believe it took us this long, but we finally made it to a pirate shipwreck. It's not an old school pirate shipwreck that has black sails and a bunch of scurvy-ridden hooligans who are constantly drunk on rum. No, this pirate ship was operating back in the 80s. It would come to a place known as Smuggler's Cove. This is considered the most beautiful beach in all of Greece. The waters are crystal clear, and the only way you can get there is by boat unless you can swim like Aquaman. This is why it was such a hot spot for smugglers to bring goods in and out of Greece. Well, one day the captain of the PANAGIOTIS was feeling a little bit bold and he brought the ship in way too close and it hit land. The crew did what they could to try and get the boat loose, but there was nothing they could do. It now sits on the shore of the beach as an added tourist attraction. And number 1 on the list is the SS YONGALA, Queensland, Australia. Alright, grab your scuba gear because you're going to need to head underwater for this next wreck. If you want to visit this one, you're going to need your PADI certification because there is no way you're going to get face to face with this wreck unless you got a scuba tank or some serious freediving lungs. When the Yolanga went down, it was not a pretty sight. It was actually a tragedy and a very scary one at that. A cyclone came through when the boat was out at sea, and even though they had a skilled crew, nothing could handle the massive swells that were thrown at them. The ship was ripped down underwater and 122 people died in the wreck. On the bright side, the wreck is now teeming with life. In the 109 years that the ship has been sitting at the bottom of the ocean, it has collected a ton of coral and marine life that call it home. This place is a scuba paradise. You can see everything from octopuses, manta rays, sea turtles, to tiger sharks. Not to mention the whole wreck is covered head to toe in coral. Some say it is the most beautiful sunken ship in the world. Alright everyone, that has been our list, and as promised, I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts. Remember, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. I pick new pets each day, so if you don't get picked one day, you can message back another day. I usually pick who has messaged most recently, and if it takes me a little while to get back to you, I am very sorry. I have a lot of these to do, and without taking any longer, let's get into this list. First up, we have the big ol' English bulldog, Feisty. Then we have the hamster, Bruce. Next, we have Duke, who looks like he's a little bit cranky. And to close it out, we have Aurora and Little Man. Alright everyone, that is all we have for you today. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Until next time, I have been your host, Jade Arena, and let me know if you're going to a sunken ship. I'll check it out with you. Bye. This was an area... This area used to be lush with... They managed to get to the lifeboat. Everyone on board managed to get to the... Everyone on board managed to get to the lifeboat. Coming in at number 3 on the list, we have the SS Sithelgrom. Coming at number 3 on the list, we have the SS Sithelgrom. The SS Sithelgrom was doing it. The SS Sithelgrom Thistlegorm. ZAKYNTHOS. PANAGIOTIS. ZAKYNTHOS.